Welcome back, everybody. As you probably guessed from the title of the video, we are going over this pistol right here. This is a Canik METE, I believe is how it's pronounced. Some people are saying meat. I'm okay with that as well. This is the SFT version, and this right here is the SFX version. The frames are identical on both of these pistols. The slides obviously are different. This one here is a little bit longer. You can kind of think of it as a Glock 34 size, and this one here sort of as a Glock 17 size. So they're definitely full-size guns with 18 or 20 round magazines that we'll get to here in just a second. But basically, what are these guns, right? Well, they're an evolution. So this one here is an evolution of this gun here that we'll look at here in just a second, up close and personal. So Canik as a company is one of the few in the industry that really values consumer feedback and wants to change to give the consumer what they want. The Caniks have been out for years now, probably almost 10 years in the country, and there's been many evolutions. And this one here, again, is the standard SF. That sort of this one here, the SFT, as you can see, the same size and everything, but it's got a lot of different features on it that we're going to go over here. And then this one here is sort of the evolution of the SFX here. This one, again, is similar in terms of size. As you guys can see, it's optics cut. It's got the actual relief cuts there on the barrel for lightning, all those sorts of things. But there's some differences, there's some improvements. So I guess with that, let's get up close and personal and go over those actual details. I'm not gonna go over the entire history of the Canik line. Right here, we have a few different models from just the past couple years of the evolution. So as I was saying earlier, this one here, our SFT, is really a descendant of the SF that we have here. After the SF though, people were asking for a threaded barrel and suppressor height sights. Hence this gun right here, which is the SFT, had suppressor height sights, which were nice. However, the barrel was threaded, the Euro version 13.5x1, or whatever the case may be. So the American market, we want our 1/2x28 because we're Americans, right? So the next gun that came out there was the Combat Elite, or Elite Combat rather, which is a compact gun, but also had optics cut and then had our 1/2x28 thread barrel. So we were like, great, good job, Canik. Next time we want an optics mounting system that doesn't involve the removal of the rear sight. So Canik came out with the METE, which has that. So this has a threaded barrel option, and it also has the ability to add optics. It keeps the standard Canik sights, which there's a lot of aftermarket support for now. And then it has, you know, the feature set that all of these had that we wanted to have improved. Keeps that same overall size, it's not any larger, etc. And the same could be true for the evolution of this one here. So we had the SFX, everybody wanted a threaded barrel, there wasn't one available for this one at the time. And now this one here has a longer barrel, because of course it's threaded, but it comes factory without a threaded barrel. This is an aftermarket accessory that's available over at Canik USA, but I do have it here. We had it for testing. You can see there we still have the same flutes and everything in the slide. Optics mounting system, but again, this one you lose your rear sight. With this, the METE version of it, you keep our rear sight. We pushed all the other ones aside. Now we're just going to get into the METEs here. So obviously we have the FDE frame. I would imagine a compact version is in the works on this particular system here. And it is a system because it has a number of upgrades over the previous versions. Generally speaking, the actual front grip texture here, as well as the sides, is more aggressive, which I do like. You'll see here that on this one, I actually added grip tape to it because I just wanted more grip and couldn't get it with the factory offering without stippling it or adding grip tape. Our backstrap system there, it is interchangeable. You just push out a roll pin here and you can slide your whichever size you want in there, and it comes with several sizes. These are both the large sizes. I have large hands, and for me it just gives me a little bit more real estate to get my support hand in there. So I do like that. Our magazines, again, are going to be 18 and 20 round mags, exact same. So any of your older Canik mags will work just fine in here. They are still made by Mekgar, which are some of the best mags on the planet. Absolutely, hashtag changed my mind. As you guys can see there with the Mekgar logos there on the front. These actual mag wells are removable, so they don't come with it, but it comes in your actual box itself. So you put it in there with this little screw that screws in there, but if you don't want it for a concealed carry or something like that, you don't have to have it, but I do like it. And it also has a big old flared magwell integral to the actual frame, much larger than the earlier Caniks did. So regardless of if you want a big old magwell or if you just want to use the factory one that's built into the frame, it is an improvement over the earlier series. You can see here we have our very high cut up there on the trigger guard, and it's a double undercut. So that allows you to get your dominant hand up, and then as your support hand comes up, you can actually get higher than you could previously with that double undercut. Really do like that. You guys can see that we have our slide stop and slide release. They are a little bit smaller on this one. At least that's how they feel to me with both of these guns than the earlier versions. It makes it a little bit harder to actuate, which to me is a pro and a con. So it's a little bit harder to actuate, obviously, which could be a con, but it also makes it less likely that I'm going to bump it with my high thumbs grip and cause a slide lock when I don't want one. So there is that. Continuing forward, we have a 1913 rail for adding lights, lasers, etc. of your particular choosing. Continuing on up to the slide, it is nitrided. All of the parts within our slide are going to be nitrided to include the barrel and many other components in there that you guys are going to see here in just a second. I have this sort of relief cut slide in there, so that way it's not too heavy and it's not just a whole bunch of steel that you don't need. Sights are going to be 3-dot, all steel sights, 2-dot in the rear with smaller dots and a big old white dot up front. And then we have our loaded chamber indicator there. If you had a round in there, that would be sticking up. And our trigger on the gun is fantastic. Make sure that we are clear. We are. We have our trigger safety there, which is that red portion. If you don't pull that red portion, it will not fire. And then if you point in a safe direction, pull the trigger, it breaks, super crisp. Reset is tactile and audible, and the actual pull weight is 4 pounds. Now I know some folks are probably going to think that's a little bit too light. It's a preference thing in my opinion, but it's definitely one of the best striker fired triggers out there on the market. Canik has been known for that, and absolutely they come through and delivered with these ones as well. Another thing about the Mete series that's different is that they are a modular system. So basically all of the guts easily come out. You guys can see here there's a few pins that you wouldn't see on the earlier version, so I'll just grab this just for reference. But you can see here that we have this dot that you can push through here to remove the actual takedown lever. This pin here that you can remove that is actually square cut on this side, so it can only go in one way. Obviously we don't have anything like that over there. And the rear pin, you can drive that out. It's a solid pin versus a roll pin like it was on the earlier ones. And then here on our slide release and slide lock lever rather, that pin also comes through, which obviously we don't have anything like that here on this particular one. So it is modular in that regard. You guys should be able to see a photo I'm rolling in here. I actually did disassemble it just to see what was going on there. And yeah, it works just fine. Basic assembly though, we're gonna make sure that we are unloaded. Let your slide go home, point in a safe direction, press the trigger, pull back slightly on the slide, pull down on both of these levers, and then it just comes right apart like that. Again, this entire piece here comes right out of the pistol. If you really want to deep clean it, or who knows if they come out with like a Sig Sauer type system with like the P320 where you can just drop this back and forth. I don't know if they're going to do that. I would imagine they probably will though, since they have it all set up that way anyway. We have our guide rod and spring there, which is all steel. This particular barrel here has that nitride finish, and it does have the polished feed ramp. All of the Canik barrels have polished feed ramps for feeding, hollow points and things like that reliably. And to reassemble the pistol, it's basically the exact same thing in the opposite order. Very simple and very, basically if you've worked on any striker fire guns, it will be intuitive. The only difference is you don't slide it through the rails like you do on a Glock or something like that. You just find these little grooves right there that line up with these right there. Line those two up like so, and just pull back, and you're reassembled. It should be obvious at this point with what we've talked about, but also the fact that there's a Trijicon RMR CC on there, that these pistols are optics ready. With this particular optic, you get basically about a lower 1/4 co-witness with the sights, with how deep it is cut into there. And the slide itself is cut for the RMR CC, as you guys see. And then we have adapter plates for different optics, like if you guys want to run a Shield RMS or probably one of the Holosun 407s, you can do so. And as you can see there, we do have these little raised pieces there. And then on the bottom, that interfaces with the slide as well. Lately, it's become a thing that you need to have these little buttress points with your optics mounting system. So if that's something that you're interested in, this does have it. And then the screws, of course, go down into the slide itself. Now, why on a full-size pistol would they go with these smaller optics versus like a traditional RMR or something like that, or a Leupold Delta Point Pro? My guess if I had to guess, I do not know this, is that just due to the way the slide is configured, as you guys can see here, it's rounded off to save some weight on it, that those are the ones that are going to fit on there without hanging off on the edge. Like obviously a RMR would be sticking out all the way to the edge, and it would kind of take away from the sleekness that we get there with this slide cut. Again, that's just my guess. It makes sense to me, but there is that. One thing I didn't point out that I probably should have is our striker indicator here on the rear, and when you pull it and the striker goes home, you are decocked, and you know that you have to run that action in order for your pistol to fire. It does not have a double strike or second strike capability. Just like with their guns, Canik has listened with their holsters. So initially their holsters came out and they were basically a Blackhawk Serpa style of retention. A lot of people were saying that was unsafe. You know, that debate can go on in the comment sections if you guys want to have it. And then they had one with a release button on the inside that a lot of folks didn't like because it was awkward to release. And now on this particular one that comes with it, it is basically an inside and outside the waistband holster. So these things, this clip can be reversed. So you can wear it inside the waistband if you want to, or outside the waistband with the double hooks. And it is an injection molded, at least that's what it looks like to my eyes, holster. So it does give you a nice snug retention. And if you want it even snugger, you can tighten down that screw. The way I have it right now is how it comes from the factory. You can get it tighter though if you want to. One thing that's smart about this holster design is that it actually indexes right in this area right here. So that way, if you're worried about scratching up your finish or something like that, which I'm not at all, but I know some folks are, you don't have to worry about it, you know, wearing and things like that just from drawing out of the holster, because all of this portion here is polymer, and that's where it's going to index. At this point in the video, I think we've covered most of the important points on the pistol with a couple exceptions. Number one, first off, these were sent out to me by the folks over at Canik, so just want to throw that out there, full disclosure. That said, it doesn't influence anything I said. They don't get to see this video first or anything like that. So how is it performed? Well, this one here has about 300 rounds through it. This one here has about 800 rounds through it. Mostly Minuteman munitions, some Tula as well, some ZQI ammo, and some Federal HST 147 grain. And neither pistol had a single malfunction of any kind to report. So in terms of reliability, it's doing pretty well. For folks who don't know, Canik is a brand out of Turkey. And basically, they've been making military weapons all the way up to like artillery pieces and things like that for decades over there. And the quality control that Caniks have always had, if you look around the internet, check out all different reviews, you guys will see very, very good quality control, very good reliability reports, very good durability reports, etc. So that is to be expected with these pistols, and these have been no exception to that. Accuracy has been great as well. I had a target at 140 yards with this one here with our Trijicon red dot, and I was ringing it. Probably is about a 12-inch target, and I'd probably hit it an average of 50% of the time with ball 9mm. I mean, I'll take that all day long with me behind it without a rest, etc. So accuracy was definitely good in that regards. Price point on these, MSRP for this one, I believe, is $515, and this one is $575. Normally in a video, I say, but of course on the street, it'll be cheaper. That said, it's 2021, it's August as of when I'm recording this. I can't guarantee you that it will be any cheaper simply because the market right now is insane. So you may actually even see them for higher. I don't know. As of when I'm recording this, they were just announced 2 days ago. So I haven't seen them on the street. That said, whenever they come in stock, there'll be a link down below in the video description for you guys to pick them up. Now, what are the cons of it? Well, one thing that's a con for sure is going to be having that smaller optic, right? So there are options for it out there on the market right now, but there's less than there is for full-size guns for sure. The other con that I should have mentioned earlier, actually, when I was talking about reliability, when I said that they were 100% reliable, that was non-suppressed. So I took it out on a couple different range trips, and we brought out first the Liberty Infinity X, which is a relatively large suppressor, and ran it on this particular firearm, and with several types of ammunition, couldn't get it to run. I don't think it's liking this cam. Basically, it wasn't cycling fully, but with suppressors, a lot of that has to do with ammo, booster lubrication, booster cleanliness, etc. So I didn't know if it was the gun, the suppressor, the combination thereof with the ammo, etc. So I wanted to bring out a different suppressor. We brought out the Gemtech Lunar 9 in the K configuration. Same thing, it would not run with a can. That said, the Combat Elite pistol that we showed you earlier has the same lockup system in terms of the barrel and action, mechanical action, and that one does run with my Surefire Rider 9 TIM can, which is a really small, lightweight can. So it might just be trying to find the right combination of booster ammo and, you know, those sorts in suppressors. So that's what I can report to you. I wish I could tell you that it was all 100% suppressed, but it was not. So there is that, but unsuppressed, it was 100%. Even, you know, a lot of guys these days especially are wanting threaded barrels, not for suppressors, but for comps. So if you want that, you don't have to worry about it. Obviously a comp's not going to cause any reliability issues. So there is that. I think at this point that pretty much closes it out for the review. If you guys like this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you're not seeing 2 to 4 videos a week here on the channel, make sure you hit the notification bell. If you've done that as well, you can sign up for my email list. This list here on your screen at the website that you see on your screen rather, basically just goes out once a month at most, sometimes twice a month. It has all the videos since the last email went out, so that way there's no social media giant censoring your eyes from my content. And then we also have a daily deals email, so that way if this thing goes on sale, you know, below MSRP at a good price and things like that, we will put it in the daily deals email along with the other deals that we find that particular day, so that way you guys can save some money and not have to search around because I do it for you. So there is that. I think, again, that's it. Thank you for watching. I truly appreciate it and look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.